Hi guys, Guy Diamond here with my first WIP and Chat. I decided to take up Miss Coffee on her WIP and Chat challenge to record a 1-hour WIP and Chat. I am new to YouTube, so I'm excited to see how this goes. So I have my computer over here with a tag question page pulled up. And it's a list of 200 questions, so we probably won't get through all 200 of them, which is perfectly fine because y'all don't need to know that much about me. So the kit I'm working on today is Hidden by Eve Izzett, licensed through Diamond Art Club. My pen is also from Diamond Art Club. I don't remember exactly what it was called. Cosmic Swirl or Nebulous Swirl or something. And I have a 6-placer put in. Have it all ready and filled up with wax. I already have about a little under a third of the canvas done, so I'm just going to keep on going. So let me just get a color to start with. I'll just start with some good old 310. So a little bit about myself before I go into the questions. I am a theater person. I have a degree in vocal performance. So I sing for a living, although I don't actually do that much singing for work. I teach music and PE for a shared schooling program geared towards charter schoolers and homeschoolers that don't get electives in their everyday class. So I do that. I also am the current acting artistic director and music director for the local community theater. The former director just resigned and moved away a couple months ago, and so now I've taken over the role of artistic director on top of my already current role of music director. It's been really hard not being able to do theater right now with COVID. I was in the middle of a production that was about to open that I was vocal coaching for with the high school. I was vocal coaching and playing piano for the show, Keyboard 2 to be exact. And we were on our first dress rehearsal was our final performance. Because then everything got shut down because COVID was starting and things were going crazy, and you know, the world is just a crazy place. And for those of you who think it's not a real thing, COVID is a very real thing. I know a few people that have had it. I've had to quarantine already because one of my students was tested positive, and so I stayed home for a couple weeks around Thanksgiving, which sucked, but it's what we need to do to keep each other safe. I'm a little bit tired of people who think it's all a myth and just made up and whatnot. Like, we need to, it doesn't matter if you think it's a myth or made up, you still need to respect those of us who believe that it is a real thing, and you still need to do your part to be kind to one another and be loving. So if you don't agree that it's a real thing, if you think it's just a farce made up by the politicians to get Biden elected, or for Trump to get some sort of praise for getting our country through it, or whatever you believe, like, you believe what you believe, but everyone can agree to disagree. So set your personal beliefs aside, agree to disagree, and just do your part to be kind to one another and care for one another. And if that means you have to wear your mask while you go into Walmart for 10 minutes, then do it. It's not that hard, and it's not that big of a deal. It's inconvenient, but a lot of things in life are inconvenient, and if we just got rid of all the inconveniences in life and life was perfect, then life would be boring, and you would be boring. So just deal with it, and let's get through this together. Anyway, end of my political rant for now. I'm not that much of a political person. I don't talk about politics a lot. I do consider myself very well informed, and I do have a political opinion, but I don't like sharing my opinions that often. But I feel with the state of the country where we are today, I think it's important for me to voice my opinion that I don't care what your opinion is. I have my own, and I respect that you have an opinion. I may not agree with it, and that's okay. But we don't need to be violent. We don't need to storm the Capitol building. We don't need to riot. We don't need to spread hate and fear. We need to love, and we need to be kind. So just do your part to help make the world a better place. Be a light in the dark world we're living in. Anyway, now that's the end of my political rant. Let's see here. I live in Colorado, in a small mountain town. I have a partner. He is one of the most amazing people on this planet. Love him with all my heart. You see my ring. I'm not engaged, not married yet, but I am committed and madly, madly, deeply in love. He makes me smile, and in the year and a half that we've been together, we've gone through so much and grown together because of it. And it wasn't easy getting to where we are by any means. We've dealt with a lot of bullshit between health and jobs and distance and everything else. He does live a little over an hour away from me, so we don't get to see each other as often as either of us would like, but we do treasure the time that we do get to spend together. I'm trying to think of what else to tell you before we dive into these questions, and right now I can't think of anything. So I will just dive into the questions and we'll get started on that, and if I think of anything else I need to add, then I'll add it in along the way. So our first question is, what's your favorite way to spend a day off? Sorry, I apparently forgot how to speak English there for a minute. My favorite way to spend a day off. Staying in bed longer than I should. Diamond painting. Diamond painting has become my relaxation, my therapy, my escape from the world, since I can't do theater right now, and such. It's my creative outlet. So I love to just spend more time diamond painting. In the summer, if I have a day off, I love to go hiking and exploring. I love to drive, so going for a nice drive, driving around somewhere that I haven't been yet, and things like that. I'm all about getting to see more of the area I live in, as well as more of the country and more of the world. I love to travel. Let's see here, what else do I do on days off? If it's not conducive to go outside and go hiking or go for a walk or anything, I do love to watch movies, or if I'm with my partner, then play board games or card games. I can't wait for the bowling alley to reopen. I can't wait to go bowling. I love to bowl, and it really sucks not being able to go bowling. Before COVID shut everything down, my partner and I were thinking about buying our own bowling balls so that we could have our own balls when we go, so that we don't have to use the balls that are at the bowling alley. And I'm still heavily thinking about it, just waiting to see if and when the bowling alley is going to reopen. And I don't really have the money right now, or at least I shouldn't be spending money on it right now. and I'm trying to be financially responsible. So, yeah, adulting is hard, and I miss being a 5-year-old. Also, that's another thing about me. I do talk like a 5-year-old on occasion, not for any other reason than sometimes it just comes out that way when I talk. Also, I say a lot. It's how I think through what I'm saying to make sure that I'm on the track of what I think I'm saying. So if that bothers you, I'm sorry. Let's see here. Next question. What type of music are you into? Well, being a theater person, I love a good show tune. It's a majority of what I listen to. I listen to, well, it's my 2020 Spotify end of year wrap up or whatever it's called. Told me that show tunes was pretty much the only thing I listened to. I know I listened to other things, but it was a majority of what I listened to, and I'm okay with that. I do like pop, classic rock, any of those oldies, anything from the big band era. Love me some Lady Gaga. I've gotten really into Ava Max, and some other of the newer stuff. I'm not a big country fan, although my partner listens to this artist. Her name is Cam, and she makes me like country music. So that's a thing. Let's see here. What else do I like musically? I'll listen to just about everything. I'm not big on rap, and I'm not big on country, and I'm not big on heavy metal. But there is a little bit in each of those genres that I do like, and that I will listen to. Just they're not always my first choice to listen to. But if it comes on and I'm listening to the radio, I'll jam along with it. Let's see here. What else? Yeah, that's pretty much it about music. The next question is, what's the best vacation you ever took and why? That depends on what your definition of vacation is. By most people's definition of vacation, it probably just means a getaway. And if we're going with getaways, I had this trip to Europe with a choir that I went on when I graduated from high school. It was a 3-week trip touring 4 countries in Europe. I got to sing with a choir, but I don't consider it a vacation because it was a lot of work. We gave 15 or 18 concerts in 3 weeks. We did a lot of sightseeing, but it was also like a very educational trip. I learned a lot of world history along with music history and how music history lines up with world history. But we still had rehearsals and we still had performances, and we were consistently on the move, so we were settling into a hotel and then packing up from that hotel and moving to the next hotel, and then we'd be there for 3 or 4 days while we went to other major tourist destinations, and we'd be there for a couple days, or like go to a bunch of different places within like an hour or 2 hours drive from where we were staying, and then after 3 or 4 days we'd pack up and have a day of driving and then do it all again. And some days we would give 2 performances. There was one day we gave 3 performances. So it wasn't really a vacation. My mom thinks it was the best vacation I ever had because it got me out of the country, but it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work, and I think sometimes people think just because you're experiencing something new and it's a good opportunity, they don't always think about the logistics of what all needs to be done during that time frame to make it a successful experience. So I don't consider that a vacation, but that was one of my best getaways. As far as vacations are concerned, I did have a vacation when I turned 21. And no, I did not take the vacation because I turned 21, but I had a friend and her fiance lives in northern Quebec and she lived in the States. And she wanted to go visit him. It was her turn to go up to him and whatnot. And so, because they've been doing a distance thing for a while, but they would take turns. One would come down one summer, one would go up the next summer. Anyway, so they would trade off, take turns going to visit each other and whatnot. And in the past, her mom has taken her up, and she's had other friends take her up in the process of their relationship. But so she was going to drive herself up, but she didn't have her license yet. She only had her permit because she was just overwhelmed with school and college and other things, which is why she didn't have her license, because she was going somewhere close to home. She didn't need her license to go to school or to go to work. So she just never got around to getting her license. So, and she couldn't schedule her road test to get her license in time before the trip. Anyway, so she asked me if I would take her to see her fiance, and I didn't have anything going on at the time. I was going to be just getting back from semester at college, and because at the time I wasn't going close to home yet. Actually, I think I was, but I still went to school about an hour away from where I lived. Anyway, so I was off for the summer. I didn't have a job for the summer yet. Didn't have any plans as to what I was going to do. So I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll take you up, not a problem. And she ended up covering all of the gas for the trip. Her and her fiance covered all of the food unless I decided to go out by myself on the town or whatever. And then we stayed with her fiance's family. So all of my gas, food, and lodging was covered for the entire trip, obviously, except if I went out to the bar or went to a restaurant by myself to give her and her fiance some time to themselves and whatnot. So that was probably the best vacation I ever had. It was 2 weeks to northern Quebec. It was a blast, and I would definitely go there again in a heartbeat. Let's see here. What's the next place on your travel bucket list and why? The beach, because I'm in desperate need of a nice walk barefoot on the beach. But if we're talking about places I haven't been before, I would love to go to Mexico. I would love to go back to Europe and go to some of the countries I haven't been to. So far, I've been to 6 European countries. So I would like to go to more. I would love to get to the UK and Ireland and Scotland and Norway. I don't know which is necessarily next on my list, but I want to see the world. And so eventually I want to make it everywhere, and I know that I probably won't make it everywhere, but I can hope. So I don't know where next per se, but yeah. Next question. What are your hobbies and how did you get into them? I don't have hobbies. I have lifestyles. I diamond paint. That's a hobby. Clearly I diamond paint, but I got into diamond painting because my partner saw an ad or something online, decided he was going to try it, ordered one for himself to do, couldn't wait for it to come in because it was taking forever, so he ended up ordering a bunch. And so then they all came in, and so he let me try work on one of them with him, and I fell in love with it. I think it's the most relaxing thing in the world. He doesn't find it as relaxing, but he does enjoy it. But so that's how I got into diamond painting, and I kind of ran with it. He's kind of trailed off. He still does it. He enjoys it, but not nearly to the extent that he thought he would, and I certainly enjoy it way more than he thought I would. But I liken it to rhinestoning costumes. I dabble in costuming. I love to sew. Sewing is one of my jobs. I have many jobs. But so I work as a seamster at an alteration shop currently, but in the past I have costumed a show at a theater, and I was assistant costumer for 3 years at a regional theater. And so costuming is definitely something that I like to do. It's a hobby, but it's also kind of a job. I do a lot of the custom work that we get at the alteration shop. If someone wants new cushions for their patio furniture or things like that, they just give me the measurements and tell me what kind of fabric, and I'll whip it up and stuff like that. So sewing is a hobby, but it's also my job. So, and that's kind of how most of my hobbies are, is they're also my job. Like, I love music and I love theater. I'm a music director and artistic director for a theater. And I teach music at a school, and I sew, and I work at a chocolate shop, making chocolate. I love chocolate, and now I make chocolate, and it's fun, and I would kind of consider that a hobby, except I also do it for work. So, outside of that, camping, hiking, I think you can consider those hobbies, maybe. So, yeah. Next question. What was your favorite age growing up? Any age that I didn't have to have responsibility, that I wasn't held accountable for things, any age that I was considered cute and that's why I didn't get in trouble. Being an adult is hard, guys, especially with where we are today. Making car payments, paying rent, going to work, trying to make a living in a town where the cost of living is way more than you really make. Okay, I think that finishes the 310 for this section, unless I missed one, which is very possible, but we'll find out later. Anyway, so yeah, I miss being able to be like, I have a stomachache, I don't want to go to school, and then not going to school because I faked a stomachache. Or if I didn't fake a stomachache, but I did something to cause myself to have a stomachache on purpose so I wouldn't have to go to school. But like that type of thing, like I miss being that age where I didn't have to be an adult. Let's see here. What's the next question? Favorite age growing up. What was the last thing I read? Well, I wrote a grant application today, so I read the application. I'm reading this list of questions. I read a text message from my partner right before I started recording. As far as books, it's been a while since I've read a book. I love to read, but I hate having to put a book down. So generally, I'll only read if I'm on vacation, or if I know I can have a couple days where I don't have anything that I need to do, no work, no anything, because if I put the book down and I get distracted by things that I need to get done, whether it's cleaning, laundry, or going to work, or going to the store or things like that. If I'm going to get distracted by other things, then I can't read, because then I'm going to put my book down and I'm going to make excuses why not to pick it back up. But the last book I read was A Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. I do not remember the author off the top of my head. Great book, though, and I bought the sequel, but I haven't read the sequel yet. And that's A Lady's Guide to something. But it's a great book. The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue is a great book. It has all of the good things about a young adult fantasy novel. I love young adult fantasy, especially historical fiction. Anytime you can take a historical event and put a spin on it, or even an old fairy tale. Like, I once read this book. I want to say the title is Spindle. Not 100% sure on that, nor do I remember the author. I'm really bad at remembering things like that. Anyway, it was Sleeping Beauty, but it was set in the Industrial Revolution with girls working in spinning mills, spinning yarn, and it wasn't Aurora, it was like her descendant, and somehow Maleficent or had a descendant, or Maleficent herself somehow bypassed time. I don't remember exactly, but somehow the curse came back to haunt Sleeping Beauty's long-lost great-granddaughter or something like that. And I love that type of thing where you can take a classic fairy tale or a real piece of history and set it in a different way, or bring it some new light and whatnot. So historical fiction, mystery, fantasy, stuff like that is all stuff that I love to read when I read. I did miss a 310. I'll come back and get that later. Okay. Next question. What was the last thing you read? Would you say you're more of an extrovert or an introvert? That is a really hard question to answer. Because personally, I'm very much an introvert. I hated giving presentations in class all through school, college, middle school, high school, elementary school. I hated being in front of people. But at the same time, you want me to be in a show or sing a solo. This one time I sang the national anthem for a... what's it called, where they have races, and not kind of like NASCAR, but like the before people get to NASCAR thing. I just need 1 310. So I sang the national anthem at a car race before, in front of like thousands of people, and wasn't nervous at all. But you asked me to give a presentation in front of like 10, 15 classmates, and I can't do it. But I'm very reserved. I tend to keep to myself. Being social is work for me. Most of my jobs, I've had to be that vocal, outgoing point person, which is very hard. I don't like people. I like being around people. I don't like going to parties because I feel like I'm obligated to be social, or like family gatherings and things like that. Like, I'm obligated to be social, and it's hard. And at the end of the day, after doing that, or I used to work as a front of house manager and box office manager for a theater, and I would spend all day selling tickets or greeting people or talking on the phone, and that's exhausting and it's a lot of work because it's not me. So I'm very much an introvert. But everyone I know, not everyone because some people get it, but most people that I know think I am the world's biggest extrovert. Like, you put me in a room of people and I'm going to be the one that starts a conversation with everyone. Now, there is some truth to that, but it's because of my experience with having to be social. When I went to college, I went to two different schools, but the first school I went to was 14 hours away from home. I didn't know anyone there, and so when I went to college, I knew that I wouldn't survive without making friends. And because I wasn't around my family, I wasn't around anyone I knew, so I needed to make friends. So, being the performer that I am, having the experience singing with choirs and orchestras and being on stage um, and things like that, I knew how to be outgoing. And so I made this persona that is me, except outgoing. So it's like I kept who I am the same, except I changed the one trait that is probably the most me, being antisocial, and made myself a social person so I could get through college. And that has done me numbers because that helped me get to where I am. That is what got me the job being artistic director of community theater, and that's what got me through being the box office manager and front of house manager for a regional theater. So, um, but so I find I'm very much to answer the question, I'm very much an introvert, but I come across as an extrovert. Um, so I hope that answers that question. I like to liken it to the fact that um, I don't like the attention personally, but when I'm singing or performing a role on stage, it's not me. It's that character or the message of the song. It's not about me or who I am. It's about that character, who that character is, and how that character is navigating through the world, or the message of the song that needs to be told and communicated. But it's not about me as the messenger. It's not about me. It's about something bigger than me. So I hope I think that answers that question. Next question, number 9. What is your favorite ice cream topping? I don't put toppings on my ice cream generally. I just like ice cream. If I, although then again, I eat like mint chocolate chip ice cream or cookie dough ice cream because I'm 5. So if I suppose if I was to have, like vanilla ice cream, and it was like at a party and there was like an ice cream bar, so you have your vanilla ice cream and then you have like 8,600 toppings to choose from, I'd probably go with whipped cream, chocolate syrup, sprinkles, and Oreos or cookie dough or something. I'm pretty basic when it comes to ice cream. I just like mint chocolate chip ice cream or chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream. Like, you give me one of those two and I'm in heaven. I will pick all of the cookie dough out of the ice cream. My sister would hate me because I would dig through the ice cream container, eat all of the cookie dough, and leave the ice cream for her. And she'd spend the entire time eating ice cream trying to find one piece of cookie dough, which there wasn't any because I already ate it. So, yeah. Number 10. What is the last TV show you binge watched? That's really hard to answer. I don't really binge watch. I haven't binge watched anything since I binge watched Gilmore Girls, but I don't know, it depends. Is putting something on to fall asleep to because you've seen it before, but then at the same time you lay in bed paying attention to it until you fall asleep, considered binge watching? Because if you consider that binge watching, then Grace and Frankie. because I just finished that the other day. I watched it a few years ago and decided that it was going to be my new I'm going to go to sleep to this. Since I've seen it, I don't need to pay attention. It was just kind of like mindless noise for the background. So I would put that on and then watch it and pay attention, but obviously allow myself to fall asleep and not force myself to stay awake in case I miss something. And then when I would go to sleep the next night, I would go back to whatever episode I remembered being in and find the spot that I remembered last and pick up from there. So if you count that as binge watching, then Grace and Frankie. If not, then Gilmore Girls. 11. Are you into podcasts or do you only listen to music? Generally, I only listen to music. I do enjoy listening to podcasts. I just don't. But it is something that my partner and I do together. Every now and then we'll get tired of watching YouTube or listening to music, and we'll put a podcast on while we diamond paint together, or while we are doing something like playing a board game. We'll put a podcast on in the background. So I do listen to some podcasts, and every now and then, if I'm not falling asleep to watching TV or listening to a Headspace or something like that, then I'll put on Welcome to Night Vale and listen to that until I fall asleep. So I do enjoy podcasts, but they're not my first choice of things to listen to. Like I don't think, oh, I want to listen to this podcast, because it's just not something that I ever really thought of. But when I do listen to them, I do enjoy them. Do you have a favorite holiday? Why or why not? Christmas. I love Christmas for lots of reasons. The main reason I love Christmas we're not going to get into because it's a little bit personal, and I don't feel like getting that personal yet. But I just think it's a great time of year. It's a time when everyone starts being kinder, when everyone remembers that it's not about me. It's about everyone else. It's about your beliefs. It's about your family. It's about whatever. But it's like the one time of year where people are like, I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing it for this person. I'm doing it for my family member, my friend, my coworker. It's just a great time of year, and I personally believe that Christmas music is the best kind of music, and I wish that people would have that attitude they have around Christmas time all year round, that giving attitude, that kind attitude, that I'm going to go out of my way and do this for you because I like you, or that you may not be my favorite person, but hey, it's Christmas, so I'm going to go do this special thing for you. Like, that attitude is the attitude we should have all year round. We should always be finding more ways to be kind to each other and to love each other, whether we like each other or not. You can love someone and not like them, and love is more than just romance. Love is powerful. Love is amazing, and I love my family, but I'm not romantically interested in my family. I have friends that I would say that I love them. Love is a selfless attitude, not just romance or intimacy or whatever else the world has decided that love is. Love is something that is greater than all of us. I missed one of these. Okay. I just read that question. Okay, if you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be? Dirty mac and cheese, aka mac and cheese with hot dogs, or mac and cheese with vegetables, or mac and cheese with stir-fry beef mixed in, or like mac and cheese. I love pasta. and I love cheese, so mac and cheese. And you can make it so many different ways that it would never get boring. Let's see. Next question. I need to scroll. Do you like going to the movies or prefer watching them at home? Well, right now I prefer watching them at home. Number one, movie theaters are closed right now, at least where I live. And if they're not closed where you are, they should be. People should not be going into large spaces with large crowds of people who aren't wearing masks. I'm going to stop ranting again. But, I mean, if the movie theater is taking the precautions that they need to keep people safe, then people should be able to go to the movies. But I do love going to the movies. I think it's a great thing to do. It's a great way to spend an afternoon or an evening with your family doing something, going out and doing something, because you can make a night of it. You can go out to dinner and then go to the movie and then go get dessert, or depending on what time your showing is, obviously, but there's like all different ways you can go to the movie, and you can make it like a date night and be fancy, or you could have it as a casual date night, or you can take your kids, or you can go by yourself if you just need to be alone. It's a way to go relax, and I don't know, I just like going to the movies, but I also like watching movies at home, so that's not really a good question for me, because I really like both. Next question, what's your favorite sleeping position? I tend to sleep on my side. I rarely sleep on my back. I just don't sleep well that way, but I do sleep on my back sometimes, but generally I sleep on my side, and when my body gets tired of being on one side, then I'll roll over and sleep on the other side. So, let's see here. What's your go-to guilty pleasure? Guilty pleasure as in snack or activity? I don't really have a guilty pleasure activity. I guess snack. Beef jerky. I am addicted to beef jerky, and I eat more beef jerky than I probably should eat. Yeah, beef jerky. During COVID, I got into making beef jerky. That's fun. It's cheaper than buying beef jerky. So just another thing to feed all of my dirty habits. Learn how to make it yourself, so that way you can eat it and no one knows that you're buying it. Anyway. In the summer, would you rather go to the beach or go camping? Ooh, that's a hard one. Can I go camping at the beach? Obviously not right next to where the tide is going to come in, but like camping near the beach would be nice. I love going camping. I grew up going camping, but I love the beach. There is nothing more relaxing and appealing to my senses than going to somewhere where there is wet sand and walking barefoot in wet sand. Down near where my boyfriend lives, there's a river walk, and by the river there's this, sorry, I'm tapping these to try to get them out because I'm going to need more than this container has in it for this section. I'll start with these and then I'll add more in a second. Anyway, so there's this spot where there's sand right next to the river, and it's so nice to take the dogs down to the river and spend some time with them and do the river walk, and then taking my shoes off and letting them play in the little in the water right next to play in the river water, where it's a little bit shallow, and keeping an eye on them while I walk in the sand where the water has been, or sometimes walking into the river and whatnot, and getting the dogs to swim to me. But I love wet sand, and it's so good for your feet. It's a natural exfoliant, makes my feet nice and soft. But yeah, so if I had to choose going to the beach or going camping, I'd probably say going to the beach. But I do love camping very much. I can't find that question. Okay, found it. What's your favorite quote from a TV show, movie, or book? I don't know. I don't know if I have a favorite quote. I don't really quote movies that often. Or books or TV shows. And when I do, it's usually because I'm being sarcastic and whatnot. But so I don't know if I have a favorite quote from a movie, TV, or book. Hi, I'm Olaf and I like warm hugs. That's probably as close to a favorite quote as we can get. Because I love warm hugs. Because I am Olaf at heart. But I'm also Guy Diamond. Because I love to glitter and shine and I fart glitter. I don't actually fart glitter, but wouldn't it be cool if I did? I probably could make a lot of money being able to fart glitter. But I don't. But I am a magical unicorn. So, what question am I on? What's one thing that can instantly make your day better? My boyfriend randomly showing up at my house. One time I wasn't feeling good, and this was super early on. This was like a month into our relationship. Like, we had met each other like a month and a half prior. And I was texting him, and he was at work, and it's like, I have this really bad headache, and I just want to lay down, and I can't because I have to teach a voice lesson, and I'm at work right now, and whatnot. So it's like, I can't do anything about my headache, but I have this awful headache. And he leaves work. I don't know if he was done for the day or if he just like left on a lunch break or something. And at the time he worked about 45 minutes away from where I live. And he worked halfway between where he lives and I live. Anyway, so he goes and gets me a tub of raspberry sherbet, which is one of my favorite desserts. Lime is my favorite sherbet, but they didn't have lime, so they got raspberry, which is like my second favorite sherbet. Got me a container of raspberry sherbet, a stuffed teddy bear, and a bottle of headache medicine. And I didn't know he was doing this, and I was teaching a voice lesson, so I had my phone silent so I didn't get any text messages while I was teaching, and so I get done with the voice lesson, and I had a text that was delivered approximately 10 minutes before I looked at my phone, and it was from my boyfriend, and he has said, hey, when you're done with your lesson, there's something for you on your porch. So I go outside, and I was hoping that he was standing there, but he wasn't. Can't remember if he had to get back to work or if he had something else to do or whatever, but long story short, he left this teddy bear and headache medicine and the sherbet, and I feel like there was something else, but I don't remember. Maybe a card or flowers or something. He's just perfect and sweet and adorable. Anyway, and that instantly made my day better. So I popped one of the headache pills and scooped myself a bowl of sherbet and curled up in bed and called him and then watched a movie and fell asleep. So that makes my day better. I have a lot of pet peeves, so we're not going to answer that question because that's the next question. There's too many to count, and too many to go over. Actually, I really don't have that many. Just be a nice human. Don't be rude. Don't be mean. There's no need. That's really my biggest pet peeve. Is just like people that are mean. Just don't. What is your favorite meal? Breakfast, lunch, or dinner? I mean, breakfast for dinner is the bomb, and leftover Chinese or leftover pizza for breakfast is amazing. Lunch is always a good idea, because if I don't eat, I turn into Oscar the Grouch. Probably meaner than Oscar the Grouch. All of them, because it involves food. I love food. I love to cook. I love to eat. I love food. What song always gets you out on the dance floor? I don't know. I don't go out to go dancing. Obviously, I don't now because COVID, but even when I used to go out with friends, I wouldn't get on the dance floor unless they physically dragged me. I would go to karaoke and sing willingly, but I have a very long list of karaoke songs that I would rotate through. So I don't really have a favorite one of those either. When you were a kid, did you eat the crust on your sandwich or not? Yes, but I hated when my mom would make me my sandwich with the butt end of the bread where there's too much crust. If that happened, I just wouldn't eat it. But if it was just like a regular slice of bread with the crust just on the outside, then that's fine. I can do that. Unless it's homemade bread. Homemade bread, I will eat the entire thing because homemade bread is the best of all breads. What activity instantly calms you? I don't think anything instantly calms me, but diamond painting relaxes me. Playing piano relaxes me sometimes if it's not the reason I'm stressed. I don't think anything instantly calms me. I can't think of anything. Do you have a favorite? Oh, no, that's not the next question. When instantly calms you. Ideally, how would you spend your birthday? Well, I just had the best birthday this last year. COVID shut everything down, so I went camping. My partner and I spent like a week buying new camping stuff and just getting things to go around to go camping. And then we went camping for my birthday, and we went for 3 days, and honestly, it was too cold to go camping, but we did it anyway. We just took a bunch of blankets, although that's a fun story. He forgot to pack pillows, but told me that he packed pillows. So then we get to the campsite and got our tent set up and whatnot, and just kind of threw all the blankets on the bed. Didn't realize we didn't have pillows, and did a little bit of hiking, made dinner. Couldn't have a campfire because there were fire restrictions, but we made dinner on our camp stove and just relaxed and went for a walk under the stars and whatnot. It was really nice. Go to bed, there's no pillows. So what do? We use our extra blankets that we brought to stay warm as pillows. So then we practically froze the first night. We ended up lighting a candle and using the candle that we lit for warmth. And then I had a friend of mine come out the next day, and we were going to go on a hike with her and her daughter, and then have dinner at the campsite and s'mores, and they were going to leave. Well, her daughter was driving and forgot to make sure the car had enough gas when they left, and we were about 30 minutes from town, maybe even 45 minutes even, And so they get to the campsite to meet us, because I told them where it was, or where we were going to be camping. And so they meet us at the campsite and come to find out that the gas light comes on about 2 minutes before they got to our campsite, saying they need gas, which means they're probably not going to have enough to get back into town. So we go for the hike, and then we drop which was about a 10-minute drive from where we were staying, where our campsite was. And so we drive back to the campsite, drop my boyfriend and his dog off, and he was going to lay down and rest and play with the pup, and get the pup to unwind, because that hike was not for him. His dog has the shortest legs, and his dog had the hardest time with the hike. Anyway, but so we dropped him and the dog off there, and he was going to spend some time just chilling with the pup. Oh, I missed a drill in that section, so I'm going to fill that in while I finish the story. So he stayed and was going to cook dinner and have it ready by the time we got back, because he knew it would be about an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours max for us to go to town, get a gas can, get the gas can filled, and get back. And I figured while we're there in town, I would pick up pillows. So I dropped my friend off at Walmart for her to get a gas can, and then I ran to my apartment, which was right next to which was like a 2-minute walk from Walmart, but I drove the car over, threw a bunch of pillows in the trunk, and then went back to Walmart and picked her up, went to the gas station, got the gas can filled, and then drove back to the campsite to have dinner, roast s'mores over our camp stove, and then go, my friend and her daughter left, and then my boyfriend and I stayed that night and one more night, and whatnot, and it was a great way to celebrate my birthday. So ideally for my birthday, I would do that again. And with that, it looks like I'm just about at an hour. Maybe I'll do 1 or 2 more questions. Birthday. Okay, what do you do on your commute to or from work? It depends on the day and how lazy I am that morning. I'm going to start another color. Let's do that one. Some days I will just jam out to music on my drive. Some days I will go to the post office to check the PO box. Some days I'll call my mom or one of my sisters to catch up with them. I don't talk to them every day, or most of the time I don't talk to them every other day. I don't really talk to my family as much as I probably should. I love my family, don't get me wrong, but sometimes you just gotta be you, and my family doesn't always let me be me. Anyway, so sometimes I'll call my family and catch up with them. If I'm in the middle of working on a show, then I will listen to the soundtrack for that show and sing along and do as much study audibly as I can of that show on my commute. But then again, my commute isn't that far. It's 5 minutes to one job, 8 minutes to another job, and 10 minutes to one of my other jobs. So it's not really that long of a commute to really do anything. Obviously, with weather or traffic, those commutes get longer, but it's not very long either way. Let's see here. One more question. Commute to or from work, just answered that. Do you have a favorite type of exercise? Well, fitness is not my life. That being said, I'm trying to convince myself that fitness is my life. I'm trying to take better care of my body and and whatnot, at least last year. Last year I focused a lot on my physical health. This year I'm focusing more on my mental health. Last winter I had some severe health issues and got really sick and lost a bunch of weight. And then when I was starting to get better, I put weight back on, and then because COVID, had a rough time staying at the healthy weight that I started to level out to. I feel like I just dropped a drill somewhere. There it is. But so I would like to get back down to what my doctor would consider a healthy weight. That being said, I'm fine with where I'm at. I'm not ashamed of my body, and I'm not really one to talk about that. But at the same time, like, I want to feel healthy, and sometimes I feel extremely out of shape. I feel like it's hard to exercise. So right now, walking and hiking is my favorite type of exercise. If you ask my students at school when we're doing PE time between music classes, then they will tell you it's probably doing jumping jacks or something. But yeah, so I'm working on my mental health this year, but I'm also going to try to get back to a healthy weight, but it's not my first priority because I'm fine with where I'm at. I don't have any issues with where I'm at. I would just like to have the energy that I had when I was at a healthy weight. So, and I feel like in order to have that energy, then I need to be at that weight, if that makes sense. But yeah, so we are officially over an hour, so I am going to let you all go. But before I do, please feel free to like this video and hit the bell to be notified anytime I post videos. And so subscribe to my channel if you enjoy this and if you want to see more. And before I go, just make sure you stay safe, love one another, be kind, and don't forget to sparkle and shine like Guy Diamond. Thanks, everyone. Bye.